In this video, I'm going to be showing you my predictions for the ballots for MVP and Cy Young in the major leagues. When the awards come out, they'll show you the ballots for each writer that voted on these awards. It's generally, at least in the past decade or so, it's usually 30 writers vote for the MVP and the Cy Young. But this is not going to necessarily be who I think should win or who I think deserves to win any of these awards or how I think the ballot should shake out. This is more a prediction of based on what I've looked at in previous years, final ballot tallies. This is more roughly what I think will happen. Obviously, I'm just kind of throwing this together in an Excel sheet, not putting a ton of time into it. I kind of wanted to get this down and published before the awards actually came out so I could see how close I actually end up getting to correct predictions. So we'll look at the NL MVP balloting first. I think everyone agrees that Goldschmidt's going to win. I think he'll win pretty handily, and honestly, I threw 3 first-place votes to Machado, 4 to Arenado, and 1 to Alcantara. That might be way too much. It might be closer to a unanimous decision. It could be more like 28 first-place votes. I don't think it'll be unanimous. Machado and Arenado are going to be pretty split. I think Machado will get second just because it's Arenado and Goldschmidt on the same team. His vote might be split off a little more from Goldschmidt. I think people are probably going to be more likely to do Goldschmidt 1, Machado 2, Arenado 3. That's why I have Machado far and away having the most second place votes. But their years are very similar. You could go either way on those two. And I think some people will throw them each a couple of first place votes. It wouldn't shock me if one of them got 0 first place votes, but I tend to think each of them will get a small handful of them. And Alcantara just had such a dominant year on the mound. He had 228.2 innings pitched. The next closest was Aaron Nola with 205. So that's 23 more innings. And he was 5th in the league in ERA, 2nd in the NL ERA with that many more innings. So that was the most innings pitched anyone has recorded in a season since David Price in 2016 with 230. Interesting. He had a 3.99 ERA that year. And you can tell that was a very different time. There were 6 different pitchers who had more than 220 innings. And based on what I've seen in prior years, I think 2018, I want to say, DeGrom received a first place vote. Based on that, I could see someone throwing Alcantara one this year. Good chance not, but I think it's very possible. After that, those 3, Goldschmidt, Machado, and Arenado, those are the only 3 I had appearing on all 30 ballots. We'll see about 4th place. I have Freddie Freeman, 26 ballots. He might appear on all of them. And then after that, but I think this will more or less be pretty close to the top, 7. Becomes a little murky and unpredictable after that. I think Pete will be up there. Turner, Dansby Swanson, Michael Harris. There's probably someone I'm overlooking. This could be a bit of Mets bias having Nimmo getting votes. I think McNeil definitely will since he won the batting title. I think Nimmo will appear on a few ballots. I'm very confident Diaz will appear on a few ballots. And I just threw Helsley one because he did have a year pretty similar to Diaz, but Diaz got a little more recognition. Last year, I think the AL and NL ended up with 23 names listed total who appeared on ballots. I have 24 here, and I looked in the past also. It's usually pretty similar, low 20s is how many people appear. So we'll see. I think this is a pretty reasonable prediction. Let's head over to the AL MVPs. Let's talk about the winner. Obviously, I think Judge will win. There's people all over Twitter talking about Ohtani, of course, and it wouldn't surprise me if I'm way wrong on this and Judge has it would surprise me, but I would say it's possible that I could be way wrong on this and Judge gets 20 first place votes and Ohtani gets 10 just because of these people. Obviously it's very valuable that he's a good hitter and a very good pitcher, one of the top in the AL this year, probably top 10 pitcher in the league, borderline top 5. I'll to see I don't remember what my Cy Young prediction was. That is incredible, but Judge's season was that much more incredible, I think, and I think voters will recognize that. Still, I think Ohtani will appear on at least one ballot. I could be way wrong on this. He could appear on a lot more. I could also see Judge just sweeping, getting it unanimous, but I think he's going to, for the most part, just dominate this ballot. After Ohtani, I think Alvarez is the clear 3rd, and then after that, it becomes a little more murky. I think Altuve and Ramirez will round out the top 5, and then it's tough. Trout could do it. If Trout stayed healthy all year, he would have been a contender for, 2nd or 3rd, because he really had a great year as well. Although he didn't, I don't think he quite reached the 502 plate appearance mark for qualifying for, rate stats. I don't know the AL as well, so I feel like this will be a little more inaccurate. There's probably people I overlooked, but we'll see. Again, I had to throw Verlander and Cease in there. I threw Clase. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Emmanuel Clase. He definitely had the best year of relievers in the American League. You could argue in the league. He's up there with Diaz and Helsley. But it looks like I only had Judge and Ohtani appearing on all the ballots. I feel feel like Alvarez will probably appear on all the ballots, but it's possible. I mean, I don't know. Alvarez probably will appear on all the ballots. That's probably overlooking that, but I'll just stick with this. I'm trying to get everyone in. So back over to the NL, look at the NL Cy Youngs. See, I don't have Contra unanimous because I think a couple people over Urias, since he led the league in ERA, and Zach Gallen had a really great year as well. I could see either one of those finishing in second. Alcantara, I think, will pretty much dominate. It's possible Alcantara could end up getting a third place vote, but I think he'll probably just be first and second place votes. Interesting. I had Gallen off 2 ballots and Urias off 3. I don't know if that'll happen. We could take a quick look, see what happened last year. I mean, you had Burns he was on all 30, Wheeler was on all 30, Scherzer was on all 30, Buehler was left off 1, and then after that it's just a steep drop off. In the AL, you had Ray and Cole on all 30 ballots, and after that, kind of just all over the place. I mean, the third place finisher, Lance Lynn, was only on 21 ballots. So I think it'll be a toss-up between those two for second. But I think each of them will snag a first place vote. Aaron Nola actually led the league in Fangraphs WAR, F-WAR. Is that what it stands for, Fangraphs WAR? I don't think he'll get the votes personally because his ERA was up 3.25, second league in innings pitched, and up there in WHIP. He's probably top 10 in WHIP, but I don't think he'll get a ton of recognition. I think I have Diaz getting 1 second place vote and a couple lower ballot votes. Someone will try to put him high up on a ballot because of his year. Max Scherzer getting some recognition, even though he didn't reach 162 innings. He did have a really good year. Low 2 ERA. Yeah, I think it'll shape out something like this. But I really only have Alcantara appearing on all the ballots. That might be an oversight. Gallen or Urias might appear on all 30 as well. Then after that steep drop-off, I probably put too many people on this ballot. 14? I don't know. Probably a couple of these won't make an appearance. Let's take a look at what I had for AL Cy Young. Because last year, 12 people on the AL Cy Young ballots and only 9 in the NL. So I had 14. What, I had 14 there? Let's see what I had for AL. 11 here. So this one I mixed it up a little more. Well, again, I had Verlander's the only one appearing on all 30 ballots. Cease will probably appear on all 30 ballots. That's probably an oversight. Again, he might get more first place votes. I didn't have Ohtani getting any first place votes. That might be an oversight because I feel like someone's just going to try to give him one for some reason. Maybe they'll even argue like, well, he hit 2, so it has literally nothing to do with this. But then you've got Valdez. That might not make sense because I don't know if Valdez on the same team as Verlander is going to get a first place vote over Verlander. Did pitch more innings than Verlander. Verlander only had 175 as ERA, and WHIP were just that low, while Valdez led his league in innings, which I think is kind of why I had him up there. But his WHIP was kind of up there. Yeah, that's probably an oversight. I don't, honestly, I'm going to stick to this, but I don't think Valdez is getting any first place votes. I think it would more likely go to someone like Bieber or just give them more to Cease. I have Manoah getting one because he threw a lot of innings. Manoah was 4th in the AL in innings, probably 2nd in ERA, 3rd in ERA. Got Verlander, Cease, and Manoah. And he had a much lower whip than Cease. So this one is kind of hard to predict, honestly. I think Verlander will get something like 25 just because he only had 175 innings. But then the rest of those 5 could go to any of these 5, I think. Cease, Manoah, Bieber, Valdez, Ohtani. The most deserving out of those would be Manoah and Bieber, probably. I think most likely Cease will end up in second. And I think this is probably how the top 6 will shape up, except I could see Ohtani being above Valdez or Bieber. Then let's see, McClanahan was in the running for a good portion of the first half and maybe a little bit into the second half for just Cy Young in general. So I think he'll get some recognition. Might get a few third place votes. Perez was kind of in the discussion in the first half also. He's having a surprising year. He'll get a little bit of recognition. I have Gausman in there for some reason. Let's see why. He might have had like a really high WAR, which can sometimes snag you extra votes. Yeah, he was second in the AL in F-WAR. Ohtani third. So we'll see, but I could see Gausman appearing on a ballot. I think Nestor will probably get a vote or 2. And Cole usually makes an appearance. Cole he was good in the playoffs, but has nothing to do with this. Again, he was right up there at the top of innings in the AL. Did have a 3.5 ERA, though. I don't know. I feel like he'll still make an appearance. So I think that's how AL will more or less shape up. And those are kind of my predictions just for the major 2022 MLB awards. So I'm curious to see once these awards actually come out in probably mid to late November. I'm curious to see how close my predictions are. But I wanted a record of this, and we'll see how close I am.